Bengawan Solo.
I'm Taha bin Saleh, age 70. I'm a police retiree. I served in the police force for the past 26 years, 6 months. Only I remember one racial riot, so-called racial riot in 1964, whereby the Muslims having their Maulud Nabi procession at Geylang, Lorong 12. Few bottles from the shop houses, at the rooftop houses. Few bottles thrown down to the procession.
I'm 27 this year. I ended up in the gang when I was 16 and started from school. I get pulled when I started fighting in a group at Tampines area, where this bunch of Chinese guy just walk past us while we are playing soccer under the void deck. So yeah, one of my friends whacked the ball hard and hit one of them. So yeah, we started fight.
During the curfew time, if we see anyone outdoors, so we can detain them, you see. Or we just close one eye, we just say, hey, better go back inside.
My grandfather told me that on that time, it was a very big fight. You know, where Chinese and Malay riots. Everywhere they go, it's not safe. No matter you are Chinese or Malay. I do have a lot of Chinese friends. No matter who you are, it's important to respect. We are all humans.
Education is very important. Baca sejarah lebih lagi sikit. Kita tahu how Singapore independent, macam mana tu kita naik, apa kesusahan kita. Sekarang yang tu senang, bro. Lahir di dunia sekarang tu senang.
My children will not end up like me, having those gangsters friends, addicts, kawan-kawan yang once you tell them your problem, right, they will say to you like macam, don't give a shit lah, just whack only. Better not lah, because they will lead you to the, that metal door which have 4 walls.
Nasihat untuk orang muda-muda, jangan berbangkang lah. Kalau kita semua berbangkang je, itu masalah sana.
I remember it happened during the konfrontasi period with Singapore and Indonesia, somewhere in 1965. 2 Indonesian commandos actually came over to Singapore. I think they were actually specifically sent by the Indonesian government to kind of stir and cause confusion, as well as to cause a little bit of panic.
From what I remember, from what I read online and the news and such thing, there were 2 office girls who were killed immediately, and there was quite a lot of injuries. I think the lift door was really damaged. I think, if I'm not wrong, that's where the bomb exploded. Yeah. Like lots of windows were shattered. Like the fruit stores nearby, the cars, basically traffic kind of like stopped. I would have never have imagined that such a thing could have happened in Singapore actually.
Actually, I honestly think that it hasn't had much impact, because like in school, I remember that we had the history textbook had quite a glancing mention of the McDonald house bombing, and many of us are really not clear on what Singapore was like in the 60s and 70s, the climate of fear. We don't feel it, you know.
I think most of us belong to a different generation, so we think that because this happened in like 1965 or whatever it was, so we think like that is in the past where Singapore was different, and so it's a very different Singapore today.
If a bomb explodes in Singapore, I think that, definitely to begin with, everyone will launch into like paranoid, into like self, like in order to like protect yourself more. So I'm sure like people go out less, people are less trusting. But I'm sure that as the time goes by, as it proves to, if hopefully it proves to be a one-off event, right? Then everything will just like reduce back to its status quo. I don't really see it, as in if it's a one-off event, I don't see it affecting like the course of our lives too much.
Ooh. Will definitely make us less empathetic. I think a lot of Singaporeans these days are generally just empathetic towards like security threats and issues.
When I served in the army, I think that a lot of soldiers don't actually know the importance of their job, and I think that's actually where security is being undervalued.
Many of the Singaporeans today are like not aware that Singapore was created through a lot of periods of strife and chaos, and like we didn't get to this position. We didn't get to the position that we are today by chance. So I feel that we need to learn more about how Singapore had to go through all these like tumultuous periods in its history before becoming what it is today.
She told me that she saw the flyer at the lift, so after that she picked it up and she kind of called my mom, and then I guess they talked about it, and then she decided to babysit me. And
the mother was answered the call, and I was so surprised. It was a family, a Chinese family. So saya cakap yang saya ni Melayu, but dia bilang tak apa, as long dekat dengan rumah and comfortable untuk dia pergi kerja. So every day the mother pagi hantar Mesa ke rumah saya lah. Umur dia setahun, dia mulalah macam dia more attached to me. Macam kalau nak balik tu agak susah.
My brother usually picks me up when I was a kid. So when he came and picked me up, I said no. I just ran inside the house. Then he came. He was like, please come back. And I was like, no, I don't want to go back home. I don't want to go home.
I trick dia lah. Nanti I bilang, okay, I follow you. I send you home. After that, I play with you. Bila tengok dia dah masuk bilik je, I balik lah.
I think I was primary 3. She started buying me like the baju kurung and letting me wear it and follow her to go visit her relatives and also her husband's relatives. And it's very interesting because I'm like the only Chinese.
Sometimes if I go out, they will ask me, anak you macam Cina But actually, sometimes tak know. I cuma macam Cina dia, bapak dia macam Cina. Tapi but if I go with my husband, sure they look 1 or 2 times like that lah. So I'm like, no lah, this one my neighbor.
I really appreciate the fact that my mom picked a Malay babysitter. It's because not only am I exposed to like my own culture, but I get to understand their culture too, and it's like the whole racial harmony thing, I suppose. But like I really understand like their religion, their culture, the food, everything in their family. Like I would follow it lah. Like when I go to like her relatives' houses, I would greet them the normal way by shaking the hand in the normal traditional way. And the fact that I know all these things is very enriching to me.
Yang rasa tak comfortable, tapi mak dia rasa as long the child is safe, that's the main point lah. From that I rasa okay, the mother is really trust on me, so I will take care of the kids like my own kids. Bila saya tengok sekarang kan, budak-budak Cina, Melayu and other races, diorang macam dah tak bersatu. Kita takut masa depan anak-anak kita, apakah terjadi pada negara kita kalau mereka tidak bersatu.
I feel it's gross. Like I think there was this Malaysian couple. They put like something about the whole you can buka, and then after that there was like bak kut teh there. I think it's disgusting when they do that. It's so offensive. Like what goes through their mind when they say that? Can't they accept that there are other cultures too? And we have our own culture and they are accepting ours, so we must do the same for them.
I harap dia jadi sukses dan pelajaran and dia punya work, and don't forget me. Okay?
Saya sayang you. Terima kasih for thinking of me.
We both do a dance called a Lindy Hop, and we were both in the same studio. I was teaching then, and then he was just starting to learn. We just started to hang out after shows and after rehearsal. So I think it's actually incidental that I happen to be Malay and he happens to be Chinese, and we met each other and we fell in love and got married. Yeah, we had quite a few wedding ceremonies. Yeah, we had the Malay wedding, which the Malay wedding is the official one. It's called the Akad Nikah. So it was done at my auntie's home. It was quite nice, and you know, with the relatives and all that. And then we had one for friends, and we did that at the Armenian church. And then we had 2 tea ceremonies.
It's very different from my brother's, for example, because his wife is Chinese, he's also Chinese. I think it's different from a regular, what people would think, like Chinese marry Chinese or Malay marry Malay. Yeah. She can't speak Mandarin, I can't speak Malay.
But his Malay is better than my Mandarin.
That's because Mandarin is harder.
Yeah, Mandarin is hard. I speak a mixture of Malay and English to my relatives, and then he kind of like picks it up. Yeah, but he speaks English to his relatives. Actually, I beg to differ about, you know, things being different back then and now, because my great-grandparents, my grandmother was Chinese from Hong Kong, and my great-grandfather was Indian from Ceylon. So that was an interracial marriage. And in my family, my relatives have married Englishmen. We've also, this is not the first Malay-Chinese marriage in my family, and it's been that way through the years.
Well, we do have quarrels, but never so specific as to originate from our culture or our
interracialness.
Interracialness, never.
It's simply because 2 people who are different, they have different opinions and very strong opinions, and it's not about the fact that he was brought up in a Chinese environment, I was brought up in a Malay environment.
The culture and the race, it doesn't really mean anything. But most importantly, both sides have to be open, so that you can, I don't know how to put this, integrate better with each other. But as long as everybody works towards the common goal, it should be okay lah.